Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Jonathan back again with the weekly scuffle, and I'm here to talk about the new 135 WBC ordered match that has been agreed on. Shakur Stevenson versus Frank Martin, and honestly, I think this is a great matchup for both of these guys at this point in their careers. And honestly, this could potentially be a coming out party for Shakur Stevenson. I hate to be that guy, but I do think Shakur does have the potential to be one of the top guys at 135, but I do think 135 is stacked. I think Devin Haney gets a little bit of discredit with his resume and everything he's done at 135. People call him pillow hands. He doesn't have a chin. All of these things, but Shakur's record is 20 and 10. He doesn't really have knockout performances like that. The Oscar Valdez fight, great fight. His last fight against Yoshino was a solid fight for 135, especially for his debut, but I don't think anybody viewed Yoshino as a top caliber opponent. But Frank Martin is a guy who, at this point, 18 and 0, 12 knockouts, great fighter. I think, 28, he's a little bit on the older side compared to Shakur, who's still 26, but they're both relatively prospects. And, someone like Tank, who has a plethora of fights at 135 and still doesn't really have a belt or that big of a name other than I guess Ryan Garcia on his resume. You know, you really look at this 135 division, all the talent that's here, and like all these fights that can be made that haven't been made. It's kind of trickling over to the 140 division now. Devin Haney should be fighting Regis Prograis. I would love to see that by the end of this year. And honestly, I think this fight has a potential to be one of the biggest fights this year because I believe it'll be on ESPN. I believe it'll be free. And you got Derek James versus Bomac again. All these things going on. I think with Frank Martin being in Errol Spence's camp, Shakur being in Bud's camp, it's gonna be very interesting to see how this fight plays out. I think the winner of this fight has a great shot of either fighting Devin Haney if Devin does come back to 135. Even though I do think Devin would only come back to 135 to fight Tank. And I think it's a smart business move. Boxing is a business at the end of the day, and I think Devin versus Tank just sells more. Don't get me wrong. I think at this point, if Shakur goes in there, beats Frank Martin by emphatic KO on ESPN, I think Devin versus Shakur is a very big fight, especially when you include all four belts. I think it's gonna be very interesting to see. I think the winner of that fight should be top three, maybe top four, pound for pound, and it would be very interesting to see if Tank would finally be willing to fight somebody of the top caliber at that point. But with that being said, we'll see how all this plays out and see you next time.